I must have this track on repeat. Repeat. Oh, you hear that? You hear that? Oh, let's break it down. Oh, let's break it down. Oh, let's break it. Break it. Break it. Break it down. Let's drop the beat. 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 Let's get you healed up. Let's get you healed up. Healed up. Yeah. Healed up. Yeah, let's move it, people. Yeah, let's move it, people. Yeah, let's pick it up. Lucio coming at you. Coming at you. Yeah, time to heal up. Oh, turn it up. Turn it up. Turn it up. Turn it up in my headphones. My headphones. Turn it up in my headphones. Audio medic. Audio medic. Audio medic. Move to the beat. Boost. Oh, this is my jam. Time to accelerate. Alright, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. F it up. Oh, I'm in the groove. Back in the mix. Check yourself. Oh, feel that healing beat. All right, heal up. Heal up. Heal up. Heal up. Healing boost. Oh, I like the sound of that. Ooh, I must have this track on repeat. Repeat. Oh, you hear that? You hear that? Oh, let's break it down. Oh, let's break it down. Oh, let's break it. Break it. Break it. Break it down. Let's drop the beat. Beat. Let's get you healed up. Let's get you healed up. Healed up. Yeah. Healed up. Yeah, let's move it, people. Yeah, let's move it, people. Yeah, let's pick it up. Lucio coming at you. Coming at you. Yeah, time to heal up. Oh, turn it up. Up. Turn it up. Turn it up. Turn it up in my headphones. My headphones. Turn it up in my headphones. Audio medic. Audio medic. Audio medic. Move to the beat. Boost. Oh, this is my jam. Time to accelerate. Alright, it's 5, 4, 3, 2.
And we are live, ladies and gentlemen, with another episode of Off the Wall, powered by CGL Console Gaming League. I am your magnificent, marvelous host, Mr. Dazzle167, and with me today, we have streamer extraordinaire, the man with the blood-soaked hammer, Mr. Octotroph. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How you doing?
Good. How you doing? So, all right, so let's talk about a few things first off the bat. Before we get to the regular questions that we normally do here, which is like your origin story and stuff like that, I'm real curious about your name because it's a very unique name, Octotroph. So, how did you come up with it? What's the story behind it?
I mean, honestly, there's barely any story behind it. I think one day I was looking for a new gamer tag and I found Octotroph and I was like, damn, that looks pretty cool. I think I'll yoink it. And then I couldn't change my, because this was like 2013. So I had to wait 3 weeks to change it because I didn't have any money. So I had to sit every day. I'd come home from school.
Yeah.
And I'd look at the gamer tag like, please don't take it. Please don't take it. It was like the anxiety was ramping up. My blood pressure was very high at that point before I got it.
Nice. All right, cool. Well, listen, we usually do at the top of the show, we let our guest flex their rank. So let the people know what's your peak, what's the highest you've gone. Just flex your muscle a little bit.
I mean, I've been playing since season 1, so I've been playing a reasonably long time. My peak is currently, I think it's at 4330. Which at the time was like, I think it was top 10 EU towards the end of the season. But
Nice.
now my SR is on the pooey side after some internet issues I've been having. So
Sure. I think we've all been there. I've been there at the times where you win like 2 or 3 games and then like get disconnected from the internet and all of a sudden lose 50 SR.
yeah, it's unfortunate. Happens.
It is. But yeah, you're right. It does happen. All right. So let's go in with the origin story. Talk about, let's go way back to, what platform did you start playing? What were some of the first games that you started playing and what eventually led you to Overwatch?
In terms of first game, I'm pretty sure I played Tomb Raider on the PS1. The one with the mansion.
Oh.
You lock the old guy in the freezer, kick him in the pool, all that stuff.
Nice.
First game I properly played was probably The Hobbit on the PS2 with my dad, and then from there it was just COD until Overwatch really. And then Overwatch came out, and here we are.
Nice. Well, then that brings me to my next question. So a lot of people know you as a tank player, specifically a main tank. But has that always been your role, or where did you start off when you started playing Overwatch? And what is your favorite character?
Favorite character is easy. It's Winston.
Winston. Okay.
Winston's by far my favorite character to play in the game. I think it is might have the highest skill ceiling of the main tanks.
When you started playing Overwatch, was that instantly the first character that you went to, or what?
I was a hard Zarya one trick for the first 2 seasons of the game.
Oh, okay. Well, still in the Zarya role or in the tank role, so that's not bad.
Yeah, I shifted from Zarya to main tank because I don't know, around season 8 or 9, there were no good Reinhardt players, and I was like, okay, we
Oh,
have to
so
solve
you
this
you
issue.
were filling a void basically. You were
Yeah,
filling that. Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
so it
A-
happens.
Absolutely. All right. So, well, let's talk about. All right. So, obviously, you're from EU. Let's talk about some of the EU Xbox servers. I think there's a big gap between of what people know and what are some of the myths and stuff like that. I know a few Xbox EU players. I've also spoken to a lot of EU PS4 players, and the population between both consoles is very different. I mean, there's on the PS4 side, I've heard that EU servers are actually a lot of there's a big population, and therefore there's a lot to gain SR wise because there's a lot of people in those servers. But it's not necessarily the same for Xbox. So what is your what's your experience in EU as Xbox in comparison to like what you see from NA?
Yeah, queuing an A for an EU is so much better. Like EU is just like super Pepega. Like it's so bad. Like I think in the last or this week, I think I've played probably 35 games maybe, and I think I've played goats twice. Like you never get
Oh,
goats in EU.
wow.
EU
Okay.
EU at this point has essentially divulged into who has the most expensive team. So every team starts at like a base £300 because they spent 60 quid on the game, and then you add on money based on what they've spent money on, whether it be like G Fuel or like a Zim, and then whatever team ends up with the most amount of money usually ends up winning in EU. So that's how that
Ah.
works.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So then obviously the ecosystem for EU is definitely very different and stuff like that. And you mentioned how they don't play a lot of goats over there. Why do you think that is? I think goats is a meta that's been established not only in on console and high tier gameplay, but also in like OWL and stuff like that. So why do you think EU is different for Xbox right now?
If I could answer the question for you, I'd give you an answer. I just think it's because I would say it's egos, but I don't know. I don't think it's egos. It's weird. People just refuse to play goats, and it's like why? It's fun. Like people just don't see it as fun, but that's because they don't play. I think there's a big diffusion, I guess is the word you could use, between the amount of tank and support players and DPS players there are in EU. Maybe. I'm not sure. There's not enough of population who play tanks and supports like to feel good most of the time. So usually each team will have like 2 to 3 DPS mains. Whereas now in NA, I'm pretty sure for most people are just play tanks.
No, that you know what that makes a lot of that makes a big difference. I think that like a lot of NA players are now even the DPS players are now picking up Brigida and Zarya because they know that that's kind of what their role is going to be.
Yeah, in
You
EU,
know,
that's not happening.
yeah,
You
and
have
that,
when you're
yeah,
really begging for a DPS slot
exactly.
to break.
Yeah, and NA, like I think there is still a lot of games where people start off in like a 2-2-2 composition, but eventually, if one team is getting rolled, the other team is probably gonna swap to goats, and then just
Oh
to
yeah, I
like
do it all the time.
yeah, just to balance
Like
the
I said,
game out.
I'll force scopes on my team. I don't care. I'll be like, yeah, sorry, Epic Dabber 224. You're not playing hands anymore. You're on the Brigitte, and we are forcing goods, and it's just
Exact.
unlucky, really.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel it's. I mean, part of me feels like the community just obviously the community doesn't. Some of the community doesn't like goats in general. But I was talking to Lame Sauce a few weeks ago, and I also feel like a lot of the community are DPSs, and they just don't like goats because they just don't get to play the heroes that they want to play. Like I'm a Lucio player, I don't mind goats because I feel like goats. For me it's fun to play, and I feel like it does give me the best chance to win, and I do a lot of stuff in goats as for my character. But I feel like maybe DPS players don't feel that. Do you feel that way as a tank? Like, do you feel like you like or not necessarily like, but play goats because you have a big role as a main tank, especially as a Reinhardt?
Yeah, playing Run Zarya and goats honestly is probably like it's up there in terms of like the most fun experiences I've had in Overwatch in quite a while. Because like people don't like the people who refuse to play goats for the most part don't understand the microplay that goes into a goats versus goats matchup, which I think is what gets lost. Is people just see it as 6 people walking into each other, and then at some point someone will press Y, and then the team who presses Y the most wins. There's a lot that goes like on in the Ghost vs Ghost matchup that people don't see because they're just arrogant, I guess you could say, of the comp, because of how like brain dead it seems. But they don't want to run it. I
And
think
that's the
is the issue.
and that's the thing too. Let me get your opinion on that because and I think you've already talked a little bit about it, but you know, a lot of people do see goats as kind of brain dead. I mean, some people will say, "Oh, it's, you know, it's basically you just staying together as a team and running as a unit and that's it." But like there really is more nuances to it, you know. I mean, against a good team, if the Zarya messes up their bubble to the Rhine, you know, that could be really bad. If the Zen misses the orb on or misses the Discord on the enemy Rhine, you know, that's bad too. If they don't focus the Reinhardt, you know, there's so many different nuances to goats
Yeah.
that I feel like. So why do you think people are in the community are often like, oh, goats, that's easy, when, you know, maybe that's not the case?
Probably because 90% of the community are brain dead. I reckon is probably the correct answer to that. Being
not
honest.
not not throwing any punches, just going straight for the jugular. I like it. I like it. And I mean, listen, I'll be honest with you. I do agree with the fact that, like, I think goats is it is a smart composition, and you do have to be smart. It's not a brain dead composition. Um, but yeah, you might go into arguments on Twitter about like whether it's brain dead or
Oh,
not, because
easily, yeah.
because I know a lot of people will be like, oh, it's stupid, you know. So that definitely for sure. Well, let me
I
talk
mean,
to you.
yeah.
Well, no, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, Ghosts is a lot. It's a lot more fun for all six players involved than playing double sniper. Like I refuse to believe that people actually had more fun playing double sniper than Goats. 100%.
Yeah. I mean,
Like there's no the only people who have fun in double sniper are the two people playing snipers. And even at that point, that's divulged into who spent the most money on playing their aiming character. It's like, oh, they have two
absolutely.
keyboarders, we have one. Well, we lose. Unlucky.
Yeah.
Wasted 14 minutes.
True, that's very true. And I mean, as a healer, I didn't have fun in the Mercy meta. I didn't get to play Lucio. I had to play like Zen or Mercy, and that kind of sucked for me because I only had, there was only two healers that I can pick. You couldn't pick Ana. You couldn't pick
Yeah, and it
Lucio.
was poo.
You know,
Moira was
Moira's
poo. Lucio was
always,
poo.
yeah, Moira's always been trash, pretty much. I mean, I think
Yeah,
she,
we do not stand Moira.
yeah, so I mean, Moira, and that's the thing. I think Moira had a little bit of resurgence when there was like the Slambulance comp, when you had four
Yeah, when
tanks.
she had four tanks, when she was busting, she
Yeah,
could heal through bubbles. The second the bubble enough happened, she was pretty pooey.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, other than that, like for that type of meta, you know, I hated it. So I can see where the DPS are coming from because they have limited options, but you know, it's still, I think it's still a smart composition. Well, let me ask you this then. You know, and I believe the differences in consoles for PS4 and Xbox. I mean, I think there's always been an argument about how Xbox is better or PS4 is better. In some of the arguments, I know that a lot of Xbox players will say, "Oh, well, you know what? We have higher tier players. We have players who have moved on to, you know, pro scenes and stuff like that." PlayStation will argue that they have more players in general, so they have a bigger population. So they, statistically speaking, they are bound to have better players. Specifically, and that's what I want you to talk about. Specifically, let's talk about EU and the difference between PS4 and Xbox, and what do you think the difference is? Because undoubtedly PS4 does have a bigger population, but are they better players than Xbox?
I wouldn't say they're better. I mean, it's hard to say if they're better or worse, to be fair, because it's not playing the same server. We don't get to play against them. That's like
Sure.
crossplay would be good because I mean on EU at this point, if you get a 4K game on EU at any time, you're lucky. Like
Yeah.
even when I was even getting 4K games, like sometimes like if I'm streaming, I'll get 4K games most of all because that's when people like to play. Usually is when I'm streaming because it's like, oh, loads of people are going to be playing now, so I'll queue up, and then every so often you get a 4K game. But if like the chance of you ever getting a 4K game in the EU is so low, and even if it is low, even if it's low, there's one GM queue at a time. So there's 12 players who are in the GM lobby, everyone else is below that. So you have like a 4K lobby. Whereas in NA, there's probably 20 GM lobbies going on at any moment in time. Whereas in EU, there's one. And if you miss that queue, you're in a stinky 3-8 game.
Yeah, no, that totally makes
And
sense.
yeah. But in terms of PS4 versus Xbox, I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty sure NAs from Xbox went over and won their tourney, so there's not
Sh-
much.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I don't know.
Well, let me ask you. Let's shift a little bit and let's talk about your stream, because I think I found your stream through. I believe it was Blood Dust. I found your stream through. I was watching Blood Dust, and I think he either hosted you or you were something was happening where I found your stream through his,
Okay.
and then I was interested. I was like, wow, this guy's getting a lot of numbers. He's pretty, like, he's pretty interesting. And then I watched a little bit more, and it seemed like very cool type of streams. Let's talk about the early days and why'd you get into streaming to begin with?
I mean, I've had a Twitch account since I think. Well, I mean, I've been watching Twitch since Justin TV, so
Oh,
20.
old school.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
old
this was
school.
2010,
Yeah, yeah.
and then I made a Twitch account 2 weeks after it was formed, which I think was
Ooh,
July 2011. So I've been watching Twitch forever, really. I mean, I just think it's fun.
nice. Yeah,
I think for the
absolutely.
most part.
What made you want to Twitch first, and what was the I guess what I'm going at is what led you to do it, and what made you keep doing it?
Made you keep doing? What made me keep doing it? Probably after I got, I say big. After people started watching me, if I don't stream for a day, I legit get messages of people asking why I'm not streaming,
Yeah.
and that shit, like, I don't know, there's a certain feeling it makes you feel. It's like people actually want to sit there and watch my dumb ass int my brain out on the internet.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
No,
pretty cool,
but
I guess.
yeah, no, but that is very cool. Obviously, you've built an audience, and that audience wants to see you. When I was speaking to Blood Dust yesterday, one of the things I asked him was, after this our interview was done, I was like, well, listen, I'm gonna be talking to Octotroph, and is there anything, and is there any insights that I should know and stuff like that? And he's like, ask him about his scuffed setup. It's like, and I was like, okay, that seems weird. He's like, that's all. You just ask him about that. What is it all about, and why does he do it? So, what? Tell us the story.
Um, it's weird. It's weird because, like, you could be a normal streamer. You could have emotes like Blood's. Like Blood's emotes are done really well. Yours are done really well. But it's like it's cool and it looks cool. Like look at like Blood's tab emote looks fucking nuts. Right?
Yeah,
But why would you want an emote like that when you can literally have the most scuffed like nonsense ever? Like, I don't know. It's like there's something about the appeal of scuff that is just like it's just great. It's like, for example, my camera. I'm pretty sure my camera can do 720p, but I'm pretty sure I have it set to 360 because I do not have the patience to deal with that. My mic, I only got a stand for it like two weeks ago, so it was sitting on my desk, and you can actually hear me properly talk into it. So I spent like 80 quid on a mic I couldn't properly speak into for like at least 3 weeks. Uh, my desk is a bum. It's very poor. You can hear my keyboard whenever I type. So if I sit like that, you can hear my keyboard. It's
sure.
far too loud. You can't hear game chat in my stream, which is very scuffed, and I've been trying to fix that for at least 2 months now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, same for
So
me. Yeah, for sure.
if it's not scuffed, it's not Octotroph. I think it's probably the best way of putting it. Really, I mean, it has to be scuffed at this
So
point.
so really, it's almost like a way of life for your stream, right?
Oh yeah,
It's almost like it needs to, like, when I see people like DeFran and stuff like that, they don't have a lot of graphics or anything. It's just pretty much, not that their stream is scuffed, but like their setup is pretty classic, pretty just
it's yeah. That's
yeah.
what I like.
So yeah, and that totally makes sense. I mean, I remember when I saw your stream, I was like, is his webcam blurry, or is it just like not focusing? And
Oh
then
no,
like,
it's mega scuffed. Yeah.
so yeah, so now that totally, yeah, that totally makes sense. Well, another thing that we spoke about, and he told me that would be interesting topic to talk to you about, is your 24-hour streams. So he says you do 24-hour streams, and like I've seen a few people do those types of streams, and they've got to be they've got to take a toll though. So how many times have you done the 24-hour stream, and why do you do it? What made you want to do that?
I don't know. I mean, what made me do it? I don't know. it's like I'll be streaming and people will be watching, and then I'll look. It'll be like 9 hours in, and people will still be watching. I'll be like, well, why not? I'm not tired. I'm not going to do anything. I have no plans. Why not stream for 24 hours? I think I've done it 3 times now.
Yeah.
I was supposed to do one 2 weeks ago, but I choked because at that point I think I was 14 hours in, and
Wow.
I was awake for 31 hours at that point, and my brain was literally turning into fucking like a slush puppy. So
I feel a pattern here because I feel like you obviously you're talking about your setup and it's like, yeah, it is what it is. And then when I talk about the 24-hour thing, you're like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm already streaming, might as well go for like ever. so
yeah,
so I mean, I think that's cool. I think that I
it's
think
like
that's
if I have a good night's sleep the night before, I could easily do 24 hours. Like 24 hours is not an issue.
okay. So Jay Jomac in the chat, he's saying you've done 3 24-hour streams and attempted 4 and you nearly died.
Yeah,
Can
it wasn't good. It wasn't good. It was not good. So I still have the stats from my first 24 hour
Oh,
that I
really?
did.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I streamed for almost 25 hours and averaged 7 viewers
Wow. I
in
mean,
my first ever one.
that's
So
that's awesome though. I mean, that's
yeah,
pretty
I
good. I
kind of
mean,
kept it. I kind of kept it. I was like, it's pretty cool. I'll keep it.
sometimes I've streamed for like 2 or 3 hours and like I'll peak at like 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever it is at the time. And but like after the third or fourth hour, sometimes it'll go down to like 2 or 3, and then at that
Yeah,
point I'm like, whatever. But like you're pulling in quite a few people, and then they stick around. So Jay Jomac says he was literally worried about your health.
yeah. We love Mac.
Listen, but
God,
but
big
he
line guy.
he you live in that scuff life. Hashtag scuffed life, right? So you have to be like, well, forget about it. I'm just gonna do
Wait, if it
24.
wasn't scuffed, it's not. It's not cool.
You know what? That should be a tag in your stream. If it's not scuffed, it's not Octotroph.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Oh, nice. Well, listen. There's a lot of people who I think you're in a good position as far as streaming, especially console streaming. I spoke to Blood Dust about this yesterday about how like there's very little people who are doing the console streaming, specifically Overwatch. I don't really know many PS4 streamers, obviously because I'm just not in that community yet. But
Yeah,
like I do know a few of the Xbox ones, and I've interviewed a few of them, and people who pull at least 10 people per stream or more. And I mean, you could count those people with like one hand, maybe two, maybe at most. But like, there's very few. So what would you say to people who are becoming console streamers and they're looking into breaking into streaming? What advice would you give them?
advice to breaking into console. I mean, usually, I mean, you can stream from the app, which is the app's actually got a lot better. When I started, the app was very doo doo. The app
Yeah.
was so bad for Twitch from streaming from the app. I mean, I bought an Elgato in September. I think
Okay.
it's September. So, I mean, I would always recommend Elgato, but if you're just going to start out and see how you feel, if you like it, if you can even play it, because some people can't play while streaming. I guess stream anxiety hits them. So
Okay.
whatever happens, some people just can't like hack it. I guess you could say like they can't play with people watching them. So I'd always recommend just using the app to start off with and see where you go from there. Make sure you get your
Nice.
friends to include audio as well,
Yeah.
because that always helps. It's extra
Absolutely.
free content, homie.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's, I mean, I try to do that with my friends too, where it's sometimes they say a lot of funny stuff and I'm just like, let's get in here. Let's, I'm going to stream. So, that's awesome. I think that's really good advice. Blood had something similar to say as well. And I think that overall the community, I mean, I think that you, Blood, I think, Loud, all of those people who are streaming, I think Tensa as well. I mean, you guys are up there, and you guys are close. You guys are probably closer to getting partnered than any other streamers who are doing
Yeah, blood.
Overwatch.
Yeah, blood and Loud are looking good for partnerships currently. So
Yeah,
we can only pray that they keep pulling the same, and hopefully they get partnered.
absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's huge. I think if one of you guys does it, it's just better for the community overall, right? Like because
Yeah,
I feel like I try to do that as well with these shows where I try to get the same type of people and build a community. Like I wouldn't have known about you had I not seen Blood, and I wouldn't have known about Blood if I haven't seen somebody else or somebody told me about it. So like I feel like we're just trying to build the community a little bit more, and I think it's a great thing. I mean, it's something that a lot of people who stream, I think it wasn't prevalent before, and I think now it's getting a little bit bigger. Obviously, the
oh,
community,
definitely. I also think
yeah,
the getting more EU and A crosses is also good for the community as well. I feel.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I know that there's been plenty of times where I've played with people on, from EU who just kind of sneak into NA servers just because they have to. There's no other queues available, so they just get into
I
servers
mean,
and it.
most people in EU, if you're ever like if you're ever trying to get higher, so you always just backdoor in A. It's the games are generally easier in EU. It's easier to climb in NA than it is in EU because there's more players,
Yeah, well, not just
more
that,
enemies to
but
farm.
I feel like there's a huge skill gap in EU between people who are masters and people who are in diamond. I think there's I mean, I feel, and this is something that an opinion that I got from a friend who also is from EU, where the skill gap between Diamond and Masters in EU is almost as big as the skill gap of like Platinum and like top 500 in NA sometimes,
I
because
mean, yeah, you can say that for any rank. To be fair,
just
I mean,
true.
even the skill rank between EU GMs and NA GMs is like noticeable. Like coming in from EU playing in NA, because sometimes some NA GMs are just very poo, and I guess there's very few EU GMs that genuinely suck. I mean, most of them are like, yeah, most EU GMs like deserve it, and there's a couple that just paid money to get higher. So, but it happens.
Sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. So let me ask you about the let me ask you about the state of the game, because I'm seeing this a lot on Twitter. I'm seeing this from a lot of high elo players, and I wanted to see your take on it as well. I know that a lot of high elo players, a lot of them would say, "Oh, this is a dead game. Oh, it's not fun anymore. Oh, this and that, blah blah blah." What are your thoughts on the state of the game as it is now? Like, what do you think Overwatch could be doing better? What do you think are some of the myths? Like, do you think people are wrong about saying that, or do you think it's true?
No, I don't think the game's dead. If the game was dead, people would quit, but people never quit Overwatch. People always say they're going to quit Overwatch. People never quit Overwatch.
That's
Like you
true.
might you might you might uninstall or stop playing for 2 days, but you always come back.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people who,
Also, I
there's
feel like I
no,
also
go ahead.
feel that your ability to enjoy the game in its current state literally revolves around your, I guess, ego and or reasonability to give up your character to play Brig or an off character so you can fulfill the meta. Because if you're not playing goats or Sombra or Pharmacy on currently in the game, you're literally soft throwing every game you play. I
Yeah.
feel like if you're not playing cyber goats, normal goats, or like pharmacy, or we call it the Lemons Company, uh, then you're essentially just throwing the game because all the other comps just suck, and you may as well just run goats.
Now, let me ask you this. I've I heard the rumor, and I mean, it seems like a rumor, but I've actually seen a bit of it. I heard the rumor that EU has a big preference towards Pharahs. Is this true? Is a lot of Farah played in EU?
Yeah, a lot of Pharaoh. I would say a lot of there's a lot of Pharaoh one tricks in the EU. I would say there's not a whole lot of Pharaoh that gets played. Apparently EU PS4 is awful for Pharaoh.
Yeah, yeah, I did
Apparently
hear that.
every game apparently there's just pharmacy.
Oh yeah, yeah, I could see that. But I mean, I guess in this context for against goats, I think you can get away. Not that Farah Mercy counters goat. I
Yeah,
mean, I guess it kind of
people
does.
in the chat are saying it, but I'm not. Yeah, mostly every so often you get because people from like Saudi Arabia and
Sure.
Arab countries, they connect to EU servers instead of NAs, and they all play Pharah. I'm not
Yes,
sure
yeah.
why.
We
Don't know
won't
how it
use we
happens.
won't use the term that chat is using,
Yeah,
but definitely the people
yeah,
from the Saudi Arabian region for sure.
the
uh
Saudi Arabian flying rocket woman, very
yes.
prevalent in Liverpool.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's funny too because you mentioned that and the my friend who I did mention before, he the when I first met him, he was really good at Pharaoh. That's what I first noticed from him. And like we made the joke, and then I think purposely he kind of stopped playing fair because he was like, "All right, guys, listen, just because I have a
Yeah,
U, I don't want to be known as like a Farah player."
known as an EU Farab.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, no, obviously, cool, man. Well, listen, I think your stream is really awesome. Oh, you know what? I forgot to mention this. I actually have a clip from today, and I believe Jay Jomac is still in
Oh,
chat.
brother.
If Jay Jomac is still in chat, we the clip that you clipped from today, we're gonna show you. So for those of you who don't know Octotroph, I know there's a few people in chat who might not still know you. Yo, Plums, if you're still there, we'll talk about this clip. Let's look at the clip first, and then we'll talk about it.
No.
All right, here we go.
Oh, okay. I can't hear it. I shall. Hold on. Oh, I'm fucking coming. Oh, it's everywhere. Oh, bother. Oh, no. Oh.
All right, so obviously you were excited to that. I'm gonna use that
Oh, yeah,
word.
there was a lot of blood rushing to the southern region at that point, yeah.
Yeah, you were very excited about that.
I was coming. I was coming. Indeed.
Yeah, a change of pants were needed after that game for sure
Oh,
in
certainly.
Temple of Anubis. But yeah, so if you guys haven't checked out his stream, obviously Octotroph, amazing main tank, very good player. Some people in some well, at least in my opinion, right? At least in my opinion, but like
Thanks, Cutie.
but like even people in chat have referred to you as the savior of EU, which I feel like that's a pretty cool title. So like as a savior of EU. All right, so
The pressure.
yeah, right. All right, so before we leave or before we do anything else, I have to ask you, why do you always look like the Unabomber? What's up with the hoodie all the time?
Just plot my next target. No, I'm joking.
All right, FBI, or whatever,
No, I don't like wearing my headset on my head. So also my hair's long and it needs to get cut, so it will do. When my hair's cut, you will see
yeah.
my scalp.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Or you know what you should do? You should do if you get a certain amount of subs, you will take your hoodie off and put your headset on your head for one game. You should do that. I think you might get a surprising amount of subs.
Well, we do like a good sellout. So you might be onto something there.
Yeah, hey, listen,
Next month.
I'm just trying to market it. Absolutely. Well, listen, Octotroph, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I think it's always really cool to see the other side. I never really I've only played on EU servers a few times with a few friends that, are from EU. So I've never really gotten the chance to like really check it out as much as I can. But I definitely learned a lot about it. We got to see you shatter everybody. So everybody check out his stream for sure.
I see the chat's going nuts for something. Hold on, I think I need to.
It's just goats. Basically, they want to just go goats. Okay. Oh, we might be having a goats match. Okay. Well, what is going on? Let's see this. Let's see this.
Oh, there you go. I mean, I can't hear you, but I could. I can't hear you. So you have to end it on your own. But I can let it know.
Guys, ladies and gentlemen, the GOAT man himself, Octotroph, in off the
I
wall.
can't hear you, so you have to end it on your own.
All right. Well, listen, it was a pleasure having him on. Check out Octotroph on twitch.tv/Octotroph. He is on there. Check him out on Twitter as well. I don't remember his handle, but he is definitely on there. Guys, we are going to go ahead and raid somebody else from the community. And we're going to do that. Make sure to stay tuned on this channel so that we can raid somebody else from the community and they can be happy about, playing stuff like that. So we'll do that right now. Let's see if we can get somebody. If you see somebody else community, make sure to, holler at them, say that I sent you from off the wall. All right. All right. So let's see if we could do this. All right. So we're gonna rate it. It's a Chris. Make sure you stay in chat. Say hello. Tell her that Dazzle167 and Octotroph sent you. And then after that, we will be on our way out. All right, guys. Take care. See you later. I will talk to you all another time. Bye.
Alright, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. F it up. Oh, I'm in the groove. Back in the mix. Check yourself. Oh, feel that healing beat. All right, heal up. Heal up. Heal up. Heal up. Healing boost. Oh, I like the sound of that. Ooh, I must have this track on repeat. Repeat. Oh, you hear that? You hear that? Oh, let's break it. Damn. Oh, let's break it. Damn. Damn. Oh, let's break it.